Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are looking at one of the most fascinating, kind of mind-blowing mysteries in modern technology. Seriously, how exactly did a simple college website, built in a dorm room, transform into this colossal attention machine that generates over $100 million every single day?
Think about your own daily habits for a second. You wake up, you probably scroll through your feed, you hit like on a few photos, maybe you send some messages to friends and family. We do all of this every single day, and it costs us exactly $0. So, the central puzzle we're solving today is this. How does an ecosystem that is completely free for us to use generate tens of billions of dollars in revenue every single year? Where is that $100 million a day actually coming from?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the fundamental paradox of the internet, right? Your cost is zero, yet Meta's revenue is absolutely massive. It's a concept we can basically call attention alchemy. You see, you aren't paying with your wallet, you're paying with your attention. In this business model, the user, you and me, we're the raw material being mined, refined, and monetized. Every single second you spend scrolling is a resource that is actively being turned into cold, hard cash.
Section 1. The Network Effect Engine, from dorm room to global empire.
The entire foundation of this empire relies on a truly crucial concept, the network effect. In plain English, this simply means a platform becomes more valuable as more people use it. Think of the very first telephone, totally useless on its own. But if everyone you know has one, well, you absolutely have to have one too. That is their moat. If your entire social circle is on a specific platform, leaving becomes incredibly difficult for you and virtually impossible for a competitor to replicate. 10 users isn't profitable, but billions of connected users, that creates an unbreakable gravity. Let's look at how this played out. Back in 2004, Mark Zuckerberg launched a project called The Facebook at Harvard. And like any news site, it faced the existential challenge of early growth. But that network effect we just talked about, it quickly took hold. It swept to other colleges in the mid-2000s, captured the entire United States shortly after, and by the 2010s, it had completely taken over the world. It was a methodical, relentless expansion, transforming a tiny student directory into the default global communication platform we all know today.
Section 2. Selling attention for billions. The real customers.
So the crucial point is, who are they actually serving? With massive global scale achieved, the company obviously had to monetize. We have to pivot from the illusion of a free social network to the reality of a fairly ruthless digital marketplace. Users, us, we are simply the audience. The advertisers are the actual customers. Meta realized early on that every click, every pause on a video, and every demographic detail is the perfect fuel for highly sophisticated targeting systems. They created a giant marketplace, and businesses are more than happy to pay top dollar for access to our attention.
It really all boils down to a super simple equation. Time equals money. Engagement creates advertising inventory. Think about it. If you open Instagram for a quick 30-second scroll, Meta has a very tiny window to show you an ad. But if their algorithm pulls you into a 30-minute binge, that dramatically multiplies their revenue potential. Your time directly translates into corporate value. The longer they keep you engaged, the more inventory they magically conjure out of thin air to sell.
Now, you might be asking yourself, why do advertisers gladly hand over billions daily? Well, because Meta doesn't just sell empty digital billboard space, they sell highly measurable performance. A business can target a precise audience down to incredibly niche hobbies, track every single click, and use Meta systems to completely automate delivery. If a local bakery spends $1 on ads and makes $2 in profit, they're going to keep coming back forever. This system completely leveled the playing field, allowing a small local shop to successfully advertise right alongside a massive global corporation.
Section 3. Buying the competition, scaling the ecosystem.
And this brilliantly illustrates how they sustained that growth. Organically growing eventually wasn't enough, and Meta realized they don't need to manufacture physical products, they need to acquire digital infrastructure. Look at the sheer audacity of these acquisitions. In 2012, they bought Instagram for roughly $1 billion, perfectly capturing the visual and creator market before it could ever defeat them. Then, in a move that completely shocked the tech world in 2014, they spent $19 billion to buy WhatsApp. These weren't just app purchases, folks. These were ruthless strategic moves to own the foundational communication layers of the entire globe.
Section 4. The battle for watch time. Defending the moat.
Of course, this total dominance wasn't unchallenged. When TikTok exploded, making short-form video the dominant force, it posed a massive existential threat. Faced with this, Meta made a fascinating and honestly painful choice: defend user attention over protecting short-term ad economics.
They heavily pushed Reels, even though Reels weren't initially as lucrative as their older formats. They were willing to lose money up front because Zuckerberg understood a critical principle of the innovator's dilemma. If you lose user attention to a rival, you inevitably lose the whole business.
So how does the engine actually run today? Let's reveal the magic trick in 6 repeatable steps. 1. Get people onto the platforms. 2. Keep them fiercely engaged. 3. Use AI to recommend content they literally can't look away from. 4. Give businesses the tools to reach those engaged users. 5. Perfectly measure the performance of those ads. And 6. Improve the system and repeat. This is the exact, relentless loop that turns raw human attention into tens of billions of dollars.
Section 5. Betting on the future. The $1 trillion ecosystem.
Following periods of intense scrutiny and a massive year of efficiency focused on aggressively cutting costs, Meta completely transformed. Artificial intelligence is now the deep, invisible brain inside the company. AI decides which video you see next, it matches ads to highly specific audiences with just eerie accuracy, and it powers their open-source llama models. AI gives them incredible operating leverage, allowing them to serve billions of people and increase revenue exponentially without needing to build completely new networks from scratch. Let's move to and see how this builds, because all of this staggering daily cash flow funds a deeply scrutinized question. What happens if you don't invest in the next platform? This exact fear drives their incredibly expensive bet on Reality Labs and the metaverse. They are pouring billions into virtual and augmented reality. Why? Because historically in tech, if you miss the next major shift in computing, you die. They are aggressively monetizing the current platform to fund the next one, absolutely desperate to avoid becoming technologically obsolete.
You see, that simple blue Facebook app was just the beginning. Today, Meta is trying to own multiple layers of our digital lives. They are no longer just fighting for social media users. They're actively competing to control the future of communication, entertainment, messaging, artificial intelligence, and computing hardware itself.
Which leaves us with a crucial, highly provocative question to think about. What happens when the company that already controls the daily attention of billions of people combines that massive scale with cutting-edge artificial intelligence? It's a staggering thought. If they get this next move right, the original dorm room story may end up being just the very first chapter of a much larger global empire. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this completely changed how you view the digital world around you, and I will see you on the next one.